A verdict was issued about the weight you have been carrying. The sleepless nights when your eyes opened in the darkness and would not close again. The anxiety that wraps around your chest like iron bands, making it hard to breathe. I looked down from my throne and saw you trying so hard to hold everything together, attempting to control outcomes that were never yours to control, wearing yourself thin with worry over situations that I have already resolved in the courts of eternity. The decree has been written. You are commanded to rest, not suggested, not recommended, commanded. Because I am the God of miraculous power, and I am telling you that the very thing you think you cannot afford to do is the only thing that will unlock the breakthrough you have been desperately seeking. You have been operating under a terrible lie that has wrapped itself around your thoughts like chains. The lie whispers that if you stop pushing, everything will fall apart. That if you pause to breathe, catastrophe will strike. That rest is a luxury you cannot afford when there is so much at stake. But child, listen carefully to what I am saying right now. Your striving is not holding anything together. Your anxiety is not protecting anyone. Your sleepless nights are not solving problems. They are only exhausting you and blocking you from seeing the miraculous interventions I am orchestrating on your behalf while you toss and turn in the darkness. I need you to understand something fundamental about how my kingdom operates. The battles you are facing are not won through human effort and endless strategizing. They are not conquered through willpower and determination alone. They are won through faith, through trust, through the kind of radical surrender that looks foolish to a world that worships productivity and self-sufficiency. When you collapse into my arms exhausted and admit that you cannot do this on your own, you are not admitting defeat. You are positioning yourself for victory. Because the moment you stop trying to be strong enough, you make room for my strength. And my strength never fails. There is a reason I keep bringing you back to this place of rest. It is not because I want you to be passive or lazy. It is because I know that you cannot carry what you have been trying to carry. The human frame was never designed to bear the weight of outcomes and control over other people's choices. You were created to walk in fellowship with me, to partner with my purposes, to trust my timing. But you cannot do any of that when you are running on empty, when anxiety has depleted your emotional reserves, when you are making decisions from a place of fear rather than faith. So I am intervening. Right now, in this moment, I am loosening the grip of worry that has been choking the joy out of your life. Can you feel it? The tightness in your chest beginning to ease? The racing thoughts starting to slow? This is not your imagination. This is my spirit, moving through the atmosphere around you, displacing the anxiety that has been your constant companion and replacing it with peace that surpasses human understanding. This peace does not make sense given your circumstances. It is not logical. It is supernatural. It is the same peace that held me steady when I walked to the cross, knowing what awaited me there. And I am giving it to you now as a gift. Let me paint you a picture of what your life looks like from my perspective. I see a beloved child who has been running in circles, exhausting themselves trying to solve problems that I have already solved. I watch you lie awake at night rehearsing conversations that may never happen, playing out worst-case scenarios in your mind, trying to plan for every possible contingency. And my heart aches because I know that every moment you spend in that state of anxious striving is a moment you are not experiencing the abundant life I died to give you. You open your eyes in the early morning hours, and immediately, your mind begins racing through the list of everything that could go wrong. The situations that need to be resolved, the people you are worried about, the financial pressures, the health concerns, the relational tensions, and before your feet even touch the floor, you are already carrying a burden that weighs more than you do. But child, I never asked you to carry any of that, not 1 ounce of it. I asked you to cast your cares on me because I care for you. I asked you to seek first my kingdom and let me add everything else to your life. I promised that if you would trust me with your burdens, I would give you rest. But instead, you have been trying to be your own savior, trying to be strong enough, wise enough, capable enough to handle everything on your own. And in the process, you have forgotten who I am. I am the God who spoke the universe into existence with a word. I am the God who parted seas and brought water from rocks. I am the God who heals the sick, raises the dead, and makes a way where there is no way. Do you really think your situation is too complicated for me? Do you honestly believe that the problems keeping you awake at night are beyond my ability to solve? Let me tell you what is actually happening in the spiritual realm while you are worrying. Every time you bring your concerns to me in prayer and then immediately pick them back up to worry about them, you are essentially telling me that you do not trust me to handle them. Every sleepless night spent trying to figure everything out on your own is a night when my angels could have been working on your behalf while you rested. But instead, they stood by waiting for you to release control. Every moment you spend in anxious striving is a moment you are operating in your own limited strength instead of tapping into my unlimited power. I am not saying this to condemn you. I am saying it because I love you too much to watch you destroy yourself with worry over things that are already in my hands. I am saying it because I see the toll that this constant state of anxiety is taking on your body, your mind, your relationships, your joy. I am saying it because I have something so much better for you, and the only thing standing between you and that better life is your refusal to rest. Let me describe what could happen if you would actually do what I am asking. Imagine waking up in the morning and instead of immediately grabbing your phone to check messages or lying there running through your mental list of worries, you simply spoke my name. Jesus. Just my name, whispered into the quiet of a new day. And in that moment you felt my presence wrap around you like a warm blanket. You sensed my love settling over you before a single demand was made on your time or energy. You started your day connected to me instead of connected to your problems. And then imagine that as you went about your day, whenever a worry tried to lodge itself in your mind, you immediately brought it to me. Not in some lengthy, formal prayer, but in a simple conversation. God, I am worried about this situation. I am giving it to you right now. I am choosing to trust you with it. And then you actually released it. You pictured yourself setting it down at my feet and walking away without picking it back up. What would your life look like if you did that consistently? How much energy would you have for the things that actually matter if you were not spending it all on anxiety? Here's what I know that you do not yet fully understand. Rest is not the reward you get after you have solved all your problems. Rest is the place from which you operate while I solve your problems. Rest is not something you earn through achievement. It is something you receive through trust. And when you learn to rest in me, really rest, you position yourself to receive the miraculous provision and breakthrough that I have been trying to give you all along. Think about the story of Peter walking on water. He was doing fine, defying every law of nature and physics, as long as his eyes were fixed on me. But the moment he looked at the circumstances around him, the moment he let his mind focus on how impossible this was and how he could drown, he began to sink. It was not the storm that caused him to sink. It was his shift from faith to fear, from trust to anxiety. And even then, the story does not end with him drowning. It ends with me reaching out and catching him. This is what I am doing for you right now. You have been sinking because you took your eyes off me and focused on the storm. You have been going under because you shifted from faith into fear. But I am reaching out my hand to catch you. I am lifting you up. I am speaking peace to the storm that has been battering you. And I'm inviting you to keep your eyes fixed on me so that you can walk on water again. Not because you are strong enough or capable enough, but because I am. I want to address something specific that I see happening in your life. You have developed a pattern of trying to control outcomes because you are terrified of what might happen if you let go. There are people you love whose choices worry you. There are situations that could go in directions you do not want them to go. There are possibilities that frighten you when you think about them in the quiet hours of the night. And so you have appointed yourself as the guardian who must stay vigilant, must stay alert, must never rest because something terrible might happen if you do. But child, I need you to hear this. Your vigilance is not protecting anyone. Your anxiety is not preventing disasters. Your constant state of readiness to intervene or control or manage is not keeping the people you love safe. Only I can do that. And I am doing it whether you rest or not. The difference is that when you rest in me, you get to experience peace while I work. When you refuse to rest, you experience torment while I work anyway. The outcome is the same. but your experience of the journey is completely different. Let me be specific about what I am asking you to release to me right now. Those children you lie awake worrying about at night. I love them more than you do, and I have not stopped working in their lives even when you cannot see evidence of my activity. I have my hand on them. I am orchestrating circumstances. I am positioning people to speak truth into their lives at precisely the right moment. I am allowing them to face the consequences they need to face in order to grow, and I am protecting them from the destruction the enemy intended. You do not need to lose sleep over them. You need to pray for them and then trust me with them. That financial pressure that wakes you up at 3 in the morning. I am your provider, and I have never once failed to meet the needs of my children who trust me. Not once in all of history. I fed millions in the wilderness with bread from heaven. I multiplied loaves and fish to feed thousands. I sent ravens to feed Elijah. I provided a coin in the mouth of a fish to pay a tax. Do you really think I cannot handle your bills? Do you honestly believe your situation is too difficult for the God who owns the cattle on 1,000 hills? Those relationships that feel broken and beyond repair. I am the God who resurrects dead things. I specialize in hopeless cases. I take what looks like an absolute disaster and turn it into a testimony of my goodness. But I need you to stop trying to force reconciliation in your own strength and timing. I need you to stop rehearsing conversations in your head and strategizing about how to fix people. Your job is to love. My job is to change hearts. And I am far better at my job than you could ever be at trying to do it for me. That health situation that has you terrified every time you notice a new symptom or wait for test results. I am the God who heals. I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. My power has not diminished. My compassion has not faded. And whether I heal you instantly, heal you gradually, or heal you completely when you step into eternity with me, you are going to be whole. You are going to be well. You do not need to live in fear of your own body. You need to trust me with it and steward it wisely while walking in peace. Can you see what I am doing here? I am going through the specific worries that have been tormenting you and speaking my truth over every single one of them, because these are not vague, nameless anxieties floating around in your mind. These are specific concerns that feel overwhelming to you. And I want you to know that I see each one. I know about each one. And I have each one covered. Not one has caught me by surprise. Not one is too difficult for me. Not one requires you to lose sleep or peace or joy in order for me to handle it. Now let me tell you what is about to happen as you choose to rest in me. First, your perspective is going to shift. Things that felt like mountains yesterday are going to look like molehills today. Situations that seemed impossible are going to reveal solutions you could not see before because anxiety was blocking your vision. You are going to start seeing my hand at work in places you missed because you were too busy worrying to notice my intervention. Second, your energy is going to return. Right now, you are exhausted because anxiety is one of the most depleting emotions a human being can experience. It drains you physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. But when you release it and step into rest, you are going to feel strength flowing back into your body. You are going to wake up refreshed instead of already tired. You are going to have emotional reserves to handle the actual challenges that come your way, instead of having already spent all your resources on imaginary worst-case scenarios. Third, your relationships are going to improve. People around you have been affected by your anxiety even if you thought you were hiding it well. The tension you carry creates tension in your environment. The worry you nurse makes others feel like they need to tiptoe around you. But when you are rested and at peace, you become a source of calm for others. Your presence becomes soothing instead of stressful. And that shift changes everything in your home, your workplace, your friendships. Fourth, you are going to start experiencing the miraculous. Here is something most people do not understand. Miracles flow most freely to those who are resting in faith, not those who are striving in anxiety. When you are worried and controlling, you are operating in the natural realm, trying to produce natural solutions. But when you rest in me, you position yourself in the supernatural realm, where I do things that defy natural explanation. Doors open, that should have stayed closed. Provision comes from unexpected sources. People have a change of heart that medical science or human logic cannot explain. This is the realm where I do my best work, and you only access it through trust and rest. Let me paint you a picture of what life in this place of rest actually looks like. Because I think you have a misconception that resting in me means doing nothing. That is not what I am describing at all. When I tell you to rest, I am not telling you to become passive or irresponsible. I am not telling you to quit your job or neglect your duties or ignore your responsibilities. I am telling you to do all those things from a completely different posture. Imagine a tree planted by a river. The tree does not worry about drought because its roots go deep into a water source that never runs dry. The tree does not strive to produce fruit through sheer willpower. It simply stays connected to its source of life, and fruit comes forth naturally in its season. The tree does not exhaust itself trying to make its leaves stay green. It draws nutrients from the soil and water, and greenness is the natural result. This is the picture of a life lived in rest, rooted in me, drawing strength from me, producing fruit not through anxious effort but through abiding connection. This is what I want for you. I want you to go to work, but to work from a place of rest, knowing that I am ordering your steps and blessing the work of your hands. I want you to care for your family, but to care for them from a place of peace, knowing that I love them more than you do, and I am watching over them every moment. I want you to handle your responsibilities, but to handle them with the confidence that comes from knowing you are not doing any of it alone. I am with you. My spirit is in you. My wisdom is available to you. My strength upholds you. And when challenges come, because they will come, you do not need to respond with panic or anxiety. You simply bring them to me first. Before you call a friend to process your feelings. Before you lose sleep running through scenarios. Before you try to fix it yourself. You come to me and say, Father, this situation just arose. I need your wisdom. I need your perspective. I need your peace. And then you wait. You listen. You allow my spirit to guide you to the right response instead of reacting from fear. This is what it means to rest in me. It is an active rest, a productive rest, a rest that accomplishes more than your frantic striving ever could because it is energized by my power instead of limited by your human capacity. This is the abundant life I promised. Not a life free from challenges, but a life where you face challenges from a place of supernatural peace and strength instead of natural anxiety and weakness. Now I want to address something I see in your heart. There is a part of you that feels guilty at the thought of resting. You have been conditioned to believe that worry is somehow a demonstration of how much you care. That if you are not anxious about your loved ones or your circumstances, it means you do not care enough. That peace in the midst of problems is somehow irresponsible or naive. Let me shatter that lie right now. Worry is not love. Worry is fear masquerading as concern. Real love trusts. Real love believes. Real love hopes. Real love prays and then releases control. Anxiety does not make you a better parent or spouse or friend or employee. It makes you a less effective one because you are operating from fear instead of faith, from scarcity instead of abundance, from human limitation instead of divine possibility. When you choose to rest in me instead of worry, you are not being irresponsible. You are being obedient. You are not being naive. You are being wise. You are not abandoning your loved ones. You are positioning yourself to be the stable, peaceful presence they need instead of another source of anxiety in their lives. This is not selfishness. This is stewardship of the life and peace I have given you. I need you to understand that the enemy of your soul has a vested interest in keeping you anxious and exhausted. Because when you are in that state, you are not dangerous to his kingdom. You are too tired to pray effectively, too worried to hear my voice clearly, too depleted to walk in the authority I have given you, too focused on natural circumstances to see spiritual realities. He does not need to defeat you in some dramatic way. He just needs to keep you perpetually exhausted and anxious, and you will effectively neutralize yourself. But when you rest in me, everything changes. When you are at peace, you can hear my voice speaking direction into your life. When you are strong, You have energy to pray prayers that shake the heavens and change circumstances. When you are focused on me instead of your problems, you see solutions and opportunities you would have missed. When you walk in the authority that comes from knowing who you are in me, demons tremble and strongholds crumble. This is why the enemy fights so hard to keep you out of rest. Because rested, peaceful, faith-filled children of God are dangerous to his plans. So choosing rest is actually an act of warfare. It is you saying, I refuse to partner with fear and anxiety. I refuse to give my energy to worry and control. I refuse to live beneath the abundant life Jesus purchased for me. I am taking my rightful place as a beloved child of God who trusts their Father completely. And when you make that choice, when you really settle into that place of rest, hell takes notice. Because they know what is coming next. Breakthrough, miracles, transformation. The manifestation of promises that have been delayed by your striving. Let me address your specific situation right now, because I know exactly what you are facing. I see the way you wake up in the middle of the night and cannot get back to sleep, because your mind immediately goes to the thing you are most worried about. I see how you reach for your phone hoping for a distraction, but end up scrolling through news or messages that just add more anxiety. I see how you finally fall back asleep just before you need to wake up. So you start your day already exhausted. This pattern ends now, starting right here in this moment. When you wake in the night, instead of letting your mind run to worry, I want you to speak my name, Jesus. Just that. And then I want you to pray one simple sentence. Father, I trust you. That is all. Do not review your problems. Do not rehearse conversations. Do not plan contingencies. Just speak my name and declare your trust, and then rest. Let your body relax. Let your mind quiet. And watch what I do in that moment. Watch how peace comes and sleep returns. And in the morning, before you check your phone or think about your to-do list, I want you to spend a few minutes with me. Not out of obligation, not rushing through a religious routine so you can check it off your list, but actually connecting with me. Talking to me like you would talk to someone you love, telling me what you are feeling, asking me what I want to say to you, listening for my voice in the quiet. This simple practice, consistently applied, will revolutionize your life. Because it establishes me as the foundation of your day, instead of making me an afterthought. It positions you to draw from my strength instead of trying to manufacture your own. It connects you to the source of peace before anxiety has a chance to take root. And it reminds you of the truth that sets you free. You are not navigating this life alone. I am with you. Always. I also need to talk to you about the people in your life whose behavior and choices have been a source of tremendous anxiety for you. You have been trying so hard to control outcomes, to steer them away from mistakes, to protect them from consequences. And it is tearing you apart because you cannot actually control another person no matter how much you love them or how badly you want to. Here is what I need you to understand. Those people you are worried about, I love them infinitely more than you do. I love them with a perfect love that knows exactly what they need and exactly how to reach them. I am not wringing my hands in heaven worried about their choices. I am strategically allowing them to face exactly what they need to face in order to bring them to a place of surrender and transformation. And your anxiety is not helping them. It is just torturing you. Your job is not to control them. Your job is to love them, pray for them, set healthy boundaries with them if necessary, and trust me with them. Period. That is the full extent of your responsibility. And when you release them into my care, when you stop trying to be their savior and remember that I am their savior, something remarkable happens. First, you find peace. Second, I can work more freely in their lives because you are not interfering with what I am trying to do. Sometimes my children need to hit bottom in order to look up. Sometimes they need to face the full weight of their choices in order to be motivated to make different ones. Sometimes they need to exhaust every other option before they are willing to try my way. And if you keep trying to cushion every fall and rescue them from every consequence, you are actually preventing the very thing that would bring them to breakthrough. I know that sounds harsh. I know it feels unloving to step back and let someone you care about struggle. But sometimes the most loving thing you can do is release them to me and trust me to do what is necessary. This does not mean you stop caring. It does not mean you cut them off or give up on them. It means you shift from trying to control their journey to simply walking alongside them with love while I work. It means you replace anxiety with intercession. Instead of lying awake worrying about them, you pray for them, and then sleep in peace, knowing I am at work. Instead of constantly trying to fix or change them, you love them where they are while trusting me to transform them in my timing. And here is what will happen when you make this shift. You will experience freedom you have not felt in years. The burden you have been carrying that was never yours to carry will lift. Your relationships with these people will actually improve because you are no longer trying to control them, and they are no longer resisting your control. You will have energy for your own life and your own walk with me, instead of pouring it all into trying to manage someone else's. And you will start to see me work in their lives in ways that would never have been possible while you were interfering. I want to speak specifically now about the miraculous power that is available to you when you learn to rest in me instead of strive in anxiety. I am the God of mighty miracles. I am the God who does impossible things. I am the God who specializes in situations where there is no natural solution. But here is what most of my children miss. Miracles flow most freely to those who have learned to rest in faith. Think about the centurion who came to me asking for his servant to be healed. He did not demand that I come to his house. He did not try to control how I would do the miracle. He simply said, "Speak the word, and my servant will be healed." That is rest. That is trust. And I responded to that faith by healing the servant instantly. Now think about Martha when her brother Lazarus was sick. She sent word to me, but she also had opinions about my timing. She told me if I had been there earlier, he would not have died. She was anxious and striving even in her grief. But her sister Mary simply fell at my feet and trusted. And the miracle came. I am not telling you these stories to criticize Martha or make you feel bad if you relate more to her than to Mary or the centurion. I am telling you these stories so you can see the pattern. Faith that rests in me produces miracles. Anxiety that tries to control outcomes limits what I can do. Not because I am limited, but because anxiety keeps you operating in the natural realm, where you can only see natural possibilities. Faith moves you into the supernatural realm where I do immeasurably more than you could ask or imagine. So when you are facing an impossible situation, the most powerful thing you can do is bring it to me and rest. Tell me what you need. Ask me to intervene. Declare your trust in my power and goodness. And then release it. Stop checking constantly to see if anything has changed. Stop trying to force doors open. Stop manipulating circumstances. Just rest in the absolute certainty that I heard your prayer and I am moving on your behalf. And the answer is already on its way, even if you cannot see it yet. Let me tell you about a woman who understood this principle better than almost anyone. Her name was Hannah, and she desperately wanted a child, but could not conceive. Year after year, she prayed. Year after year, she hoped. And year after year, she was disappointed. The pain was crushing. Other people in her life mocked her barrenness. Even her husband, who loved her, could not understand the depth of her grief. She could have spent every moment of every day consumed with anxiety about her situation. She could have tried to control and manipulate circumstances. She could have given up hope entirely and collapsed into bitterness. But instead, she did something remarkable. She went to the temple and poured out her heart to me with such intensity that the priest thought she was drunk. She wept, she prayed, she laid her deepest pain and longing before me, and then she made a vow. If I would give her a son, she would dedicate him to me for his entire life. She was saying, "God, I trust you with this situation. I trust you with the answer. I trust you with the outcome, even if it costs me everything." And then, here's the key. She got up from that place of prayer, and her face was no longer downcast. She went and ate, and she was not sad anymore. What changed? Her circumstances had not changed. She was still childless. The people who mocked her were still mocking. The years of disappointment were still part of her story, but something shifted inside her when she truly released her burden to me and trusted me with the outcome. She found peace before she saw the answer. She experienced rest in the middle of her impossible situation. And because she positioned herself in that place of faith-filled rest, she was ready to receive when I opened her womb and gave her the son she had prayed for. That son was Samuel, one of the greatest prophets in Israel's history. Do you see the pattern? Hannah's rest did not come after I solved her problem. Her rest came when she truly surrendered it to me and trusted my goodness, regardless of the outcome. And that rest, that faith, that surrender, positioned her to receive the miracle she had been longing for. This is what I am teaching you. Rest first, trust first, surrender first, and watch what I do next. Let me give you another example because I want you to see this principle demonstrated over and over in different contexts, so you understand how universally applicable it is. Think about the Israelites trapped at the Red Sea with Pharaoh's army bearing down on them. Naturally speaking, they were finished. Water in front of them, army behind them, no way out. And they did what most people do in that situation. They panicked. They complained. They wished they had never left Egypt. They accused Moses of leading them to their deaths. But Moses said something remarkable. Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. You need only to be still. That is rest. That is trust. That is faith in action. And what happened? I parted the sea. I made a way where there was no way. I delivered them completely and destroyed their enemies. But notice, the miracle did not come through their frantic efforts to solve the problem. It came when they stood still and watched me work. This is what I'm inviting you into. This posture of standing still and watching me work. This place of rest in the middle of impossible circumstances. This faith that says, I cannot see how this is going to work out, but I know my God is able. So I am going to trust him and watch what he does. This is not passivity. This is not giving up. This is active, powerful faith that positions you to see miracles. Let me tell you about a man named Joseph, who understood rest in a way that very few people do. He had dreams from me about his future, big dreams, dreams that said he would be a leader, that even his family would bow down to him. But then his life fell apart. His brothers sold him into slavery. He was falsely accused and thrown into prison. Years passed. The dreams seemed like cruel jokes. Everything in his circumstances screamed that God had abandoned him, and the promises were lies. But Joseph did something extraordinary. He kept trusting me even when nothing made sense. He kept serving faithfully even when he had every reason to become bitter. He kept believing that I had a plan even when that plan was completely invisible to him. He rested in my character and my promises even when his circumstances contradicted everything he thought I had said. And because he maintained that posture of faith-filled rest even in the darkest valley, he was positioned to step into the palace when the right time came. He became second in command of Egypt. He saved his family. He fulfilled every dream I had given him, but in ways and timing he never could have imagined. The lesson is this. Joseph's rest was not dependent on understanding my plan. It was dependent on trusting my character. He did not need to see the whole path. He just needed to know that I was faithful and I was with him. And that knowledge sustained him through years of difficulty and positioned him for the breakthrough that was always coming, even when he could not see it. This is the kind of rest I am calling you to. Rest that does not depend on circumstances. Rest that is rooted in who I am, regardless of what is happening around you. Now let me address something practical that I know is weighing on your mind. You are worried about money. Maybe it is debt that feels crushing. Maybe it is bills you do not know how you're going to pay. Maybe it is anxiety about the future and whether you will have enough. Maybe it is comparison to others who seem to have so much more than you do. Whatever the specific situation, financial anxiety is stealing your peace and keeping you up at night. You lie there running the numbers over and over, trying to figure out how to make it work, feeling the weight of responsibility, and the fear of scarcity pressing down on your chest. I see this. I know exactly what you owe and what you have and what you need. And I am telling you right now, this is an area where you desperately need to learn to rest in me instead of striving in your own strength. Not because financial responsibility does not matter, it absolutely does. But because your anxiety about money is not helping you manage it better. It is just making you miserable and clouding your judgment and preventing you from seeing the provision and opportunities I am trying to bring into your life. Here's what I need you to understand about provision. I am your source, not your job, not your spouse's income, not your investments or your savings account. Me. I am the one who provides. Jobs and income and opportunities are simply the channels through which I deliver my provision to you, but they are not the source. I am. And when you understand that, when you really get it deep in your soul, it changes everything about how you relate to money. When your job is your source, you live in fear of losing it. When I am your source, you can trust that even if you lose one stream of income, I will open another because I am committed to providing for you. When your bank account balance is your source of security, you panic every time it gets low. When I am your source of security, you can walk in peace knowing that the God who feeds the birds and clothes the flowers will certainly take care of you. When money is your source of significance and worth, you constantly compare yourself to others and feel either prideful or inadequate depending on how you measure up. When I am your source of significance and worth, you are free from that trap entirely. So let me be very practical with you about how to rest in me financially. First, do what is wise and responsible. Budget. Work hard. Pay your bills. Be a good steward of what I have given you. I am not asking you to be foolish or irresponsible. I am asking you to do your part faithfully and trust me with the outcomes. Second, give generously even when it feels scary. When you hold tightly to money out of fear, you are declaring that money is your source. When you give generously even when you do not have extra, you are declaring that I am your source and you trust me to provide. And I will honor that faith. Third, stop comparing yourself to others. Their journey is not your journey. Their provision comes according to my plan for them. Your provision comes according to my plan for you. And I have more than enough to care for all my children according to their needs and my purposes. Fourth, and this is crucial, thank me for what you have instead of focusing on what you lack. Gratitude is a weapon against anxiety. When you start counting your blessings instead of counting your bills, your perspective shifts. You start seeing my provision instead of fixating on the gaps. You start operating from abundance instead of scarcity. And that shift opens you up to receive more because you are no longer operating from a closed, fearful mindset. Fifth, when you do not know how you're going to make it work, tell me specifically what you need, and then watch for my provision. I might provide through expected channels or unexpected ones. I might meet the need immediately or at the last possible moment, but I will provide. I always have. I always will. And your job is to trust me and watch for my hand at work. Let me tell you what happens when you really practice this. You stop lying awake at night running the numbers because you have given the situation to me. You stop that sick feeling in your stomach every time a bill comes because you trust that I am your provider. You stop the comparison game because you are secure in my provision for you specifically. You stop making desperate, fear-based financial decisions and start making wise, peace-filled ones because you are operating from rest instead of panic. And ironically, you often end up in a better financial position because clear-headed, faith-filled financial management is far more effective than anxious, fear-driven financial chaos. But even more than the practical benefits, you experience freedom. Freedom from the tyranny of money. Freedom from the fear of scarcity. Freedom from the endless striving to have more and more. You find contentment. You find peace. You find joy that is not dependent on your bank account balance. And that, child, is priceless. That is the abundant life I promised. Not abundance of money necessarily, though I do want to prosper you, but abundance of peace and joy and contentment regardless of your financial circumstances. Now let me talk to you about your health, because I know this is another major source of anxiety for you. Maybe you are dealing with a chronic condition that never seems to get better. Maybe you are waiting for test results that have you terrified. Maybe you keep noticing symptoms that make you worry something is seriously wrong. Maybe you are just generally anxious about your body and health in a way that steals your peace constantly. Whatever the specific situation, health anxiety is real, and it is consuming mental and emotional energy that you need for other things. Here's what I want you to know. I am the God who heals. I created your body with remarkable ability to heal itself when given what it needs. I am fully aware of every cell, every system, every process happening in your physical body right now. Nothing is hidden from me. Nothing surprises me. And I care deeply about your physical well-being. I am not indifferent to your pain or your fear. I am not unconcerned about your health. I am intimately involved in every aspect of your life, including your physical body. But I also need you to understand something important. Your health anxiety is not helping you be healthier. In fact, it is probably making things worse. Chronic anxiety and stress wreak havoc on your physical body. They suppress your immune system. They raise your blood pressure. They disrupt your sleep. They trigger inflammation. They mess with your digestion. They create tension that manifests as physical pain. So when you are constantly anxious about your health, you are actually making yourself less healthy. The very thing you fear, declining health, is being accelerated by your fear of it. This is why you must learn to rest in me regarding your physical body. You need to steward your health wisely. Eat nutritious food. Move your body. Get adequate sleep. See doctors when necessary. Take prescribed medications. Do what is wise and responsible. But then release the outcomes to me. Trust that I am watching over you. Trust that I have good plans for you. Trust that whether I heal you instantly, gradually, or ultimately in eternity, you are going to be okay because I am with you. And here is something that might surprise you. Sometimes the health issue you are facing is not primarily a physical problem that needs a physical solution. Sometimes it is a spiritual or emotional issue that is manifesting physically. Unresolved bitterness that is creating physical tension. Unforgiveness that is manifesting as chronic pain. Anxiety that is showing up as digestive issues. Grief that is suppressing your immune system. Stress that is causing headaches and muscle tension. And in those cases, the path to physical healing goes through emotional and spiritual healing. You need to bring the root issue to me. Allow me to heal your heart and your soul, and watch how your body responds when the spiritual burden is lifted. I am not saying that all health issues are emotional or spiritual. Sometimes bodies just malfunction because we live in a fallen world and things break. Sometimes you need medical intervention, and I work through doctors and medicine as surely as I work through any other means. But I am saying that you need to bring the whole situation to me, physical and emotional and spiritual. And trust me to show you what is needed, and to provide healing in whatever form is best for your particular situation. Let me also speak to those of you who are caring for someone else who is sick. Maybe it is a parent who is aging and declining. Maybe it is a child with special needs. Maybe it is a spouse battling a serious illness. The weight of caregiving is enormous. The emotional toll is crushing. The physical exhaustion is real. The grief of watching someone you love suffer is almost unbearable. And you lie awake at night worried about them, worried about the future, worried about whether you have the strength to keep doing this. I see you. I see every sleepless night. I see every sacrifice you make. I see every tear you cry in private because you have to be strong for them. I see the exhaustion that goes bone deep. I see the grief that ambushes you at unexpected moments. And I am saying to you right now, you cannot carry this alone. You were never meant to. You need to let me into this situation in a deeper way than you have been. You need to release control over outcomes you cannot control anyway. You need to trust me with their well-being and their future. You need to do what you can do, and trust me with what you cannot do. And you need to rest. Really rest. Not just collapse in exhaustion when you finally have a moment, but actually rest in me. Come to me regularly, and let me restore your soul. Let me give you peace that makes no sense given what you are facing. Let me strengthen you with supernatural strength that sustains you when your natural strength is gone. Let me remind you that you are not alone in this. I am carrying you even as you are carrying them. My arms are underneath you both, and I am going to see you through this valley. You will not drown in it, you will walk through it, and I will be with you every single step. Now let me talk about a form of rest that many of my children never experience because they do not even realize it is available. It is the rest that comes from forgiving others. You are carrying so much weight from things that have been done to you: betrayals, rejections, injustices, words spoken in cruelty that wounded your soul, actions taken that damaged your life. And you have every right to be hurt, every right to be angry. What was done to you was wrong, and I saw it all, and I cared deeply about the pain it caused you. But child, holding on to that hurt and anger and resentment is destroying you. Not them. You. They may not even know or care that you are still carrying this. They may have moved on with their lives completely unaffected by your ongoing pain. But you are being eaten alive by bitterness. It is poisoning your joy. It is stealing your peace. It is affecting your health. It is damaging your other relationships. It is keeping you trapped in the past instead of free to move forward into the future I have for you. And I am telling you that you need to release it. Not because they deserve your forgiveness, but because you deserve to be free. Forgiveness is not saying that what they did was okay. It was not okay. Forgiveness is not pretending it did not hurt. It hurt deeply. Forgiveness is not necessarily reconciling the relationship, especially if they are not safe. You can forgive someone and still maintain healthy boundaries. Forgiveness is simply you releasing them from the debt they owe you and entrusting them to me to deal with. It is you saying, what they did was wrong and it hurt me, but I am not going to let it continue to hurt me by carrying it around anymore. I am giving this to God, and I am walking away free. And let me tell you what happens when you do this. When you really forgive from your heart and release people who have wounded you. First, you experience immediate lightness. The burden you have been carrying lifts. Second, you stop being controlled by them. Right now, whether you realize it or not, they still have power over you because your emotions are still tied to what they did. When you forgive, you take that power back. Third, you create space for me to work. As long as you are holding on to the offense and trying to settle the score yourself, I cannot move. When you release it to me, I can deal with them and with the situation in ways that are far more effective than anything you could do. Fourth, you are freed to move forward. Bitterness keeps you stuck in the past. Forgiveness unlocks the future. I know this is hard. I know some of what has been done to you is so awful that forgiveness feels impossible. But with me, all things are possible. Bring me the hurt. Bring me the anger. Bring me the desire for revenge. Do not pretend those feelings do not exist. Acknowledge them honestly before me, and then ask me to help you release them. Ask me to give you the grace to forgive, and I will. It might not happen all at once. You might have to keep choosing forgiveness over and over as the memories resurface and the feelings come back. But every time you choose it, you will find more freedom. Every time you release it to me, you will experience more peace. And eventually, you will discover that the person or situation that once had such a hold on you no longer has any power over your emotions. You will be free. And that freedom is a form of rest that nothing else can provide. Let me also address the rest that comes from accepting yourself exactly as you are right now, even as I am transforming you into who you are meant to be. So many of my children live in constant turmoil because they hate themselves. They look in the mirror and see only flaws. They review their day and see only failures. They compare themselves to others and always come up short. They have an internal voice that constantly criticizes and condemns and tells them they are not enough. And that voice is relentless, stealing every ounce of peace and joy and making rest impossible, because how can you rest when you are at war with yourself? But child, that voice is not my voice. I do not speak to you that way. Yes, I convict you of sin because I love you too much to let you stay stuck in destructive patterns. But conviction is specific and redemptive. It points out a particular issue and shows you the way forward. It is an invitation to freedom, not a condemnation to shame. The voice that constantly tears you down and tells you that you are fundamentally flawed and worthless and unlovable. That is not me. That is the enemy. Or it is the echo of other voices from your past that wounded you. Or it is your own fear and insecurity turned inward. But it is not me. My voice says you are my beloved. My voice says you are chosen. My voice says you are precious to me. My voice says I delight in you. My voice says yes, you made a mistake. Bring it to me, and let me forgive you, and teach you, and help you grow. My voice says I see your weakness, and I am making you strong. My voice says I see your struggle, and I am with you in it. My voice says you are becoming who I created you to be, and I am pleased with the progress even when you cannot see it yet. So you need to start talking to yourself the way I talk to you. You need to reject the lies and embrace the truth. When that critical voice starts up, recognize it for what it is, and replace it with my voice. I am a work in progress, and God is patient with me. I made a mistake, but I am forgiven, and I am learning from this. I have weaknesses, but God's strength is made perfect in my weakness. I am not where I want to be yet, but I am not where I used to be, and God is faithfully completing the work He started in me. This practice of speaking truth to yourself, of talking to yourself the way I talk to you, will revolutionize your internal world. Instead of being at war with yourself, you will be at peace with yourself. Instead of constant self-criticism, you will experience self-compassion. Instead of shame spirals, you will have the ability to acknowledge your mistakes, bring them to me, receive forgiveness, learn from them, and move forward without carrying condemnation. And that shift will produce a depth of rest in your soul that will amaze you. Here is what I want you to understand. You do not have to wait until you are perfect to experience peace. You do not have to have your life completely together to rest in my love. You do not have to fix all your flaws before you can accept yourself. Right now, exactly as you are, with all your mess and all your struggles and all your imperfections, you are deeply loved by me. And when you really believe that, when you let that truth settle deep into your soul, you can stop fighting yourself and start resting in my acceptance. Let me tell you something else about rest that is absolutely crucial. There is a rest that comes from being fully present in each moment instead of constantly living in the past or the future. So much of your anxiety comes from your mind being anywhere but right now. You are replaying yesterday's conversations and cringing at what you said or did. You are reliving past hurts and failures. You are reviewing old regrets. Or you are jumping forward to tomorrow or next week or next year and imagining all the things that could go wrong and trying to plan for every possible contingency. And all of that mental time travel is exhausting you and stealing the gift of this present moment. The truth is, you cannot change the past. It is done. You can learn from it. You can make amends where needed. You can receive my forgiveness for your mistakes and my healing for your wounds. But you cannot go back and do it differently. And spending mental and emotional energy wishing you could is wasted energy that robs you of peace. The future has not happened yet. You cannot control it no matter how much you worry about it or try to plan for it. You can take wise steps today to prepare for tomorrow. You can steward your resources and relationships and opportunities well, but you cannot guarantee outcomes, and you cannot prevent every possible difficulty. And spending all your energy trying to do so is exhausting you for no gain. The only moment you actually have is right now. This moment, this breath, this conversation, this task, this day. And when you are fully present in it instead of scattered across past and future, you experience a quality of rest and peace that is remarkable. You are not divided. You are not fragmented. You are here, now, fully engaged with what is actually in front of you instead of tormented by what was or what might be. This is what I mean when I tell you not to worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow has enough trouble of its own. Each day has enough to deal with without borrowing trouble from other days. Give your attention to today. Be faithful with what is right in front of you right now. Trust me with yesterday. Trust me with tomorrow. And be present in this moment that I have given you. This is a discipline. It takes practice. Your mind will wander constantly to past and future because that is the habit you have developed. But every time you notice it happening, Gently bring your attention back to now. What is God saying to me right now? What is He doing in this moment? What do I need to do right here? This practice of presence is a game changer for anxiety and a doorway into profound rest. This is how you position yourself for miracles. Not through worry, not through striving, not through trying to figure out how I am going to do what only I can do, but through rest, through trust, through the kind of peace that makes no sense to people who do not know me, but makes perfect sense to those who do. Because we know that our God is able. We know that nothing is too difficult for Him. We know that He loves us and has good plans for us. And that knowledge produces rest even in the middle of storms. I want you to think about my time in the Garden of Gethsemane. I was facing the most difficult hours of my earthly life. I knew what was coming. I knew the physical agony, the spiritual weight, the betrayal, the mockery, the injustice. And yes, I felt the weight of it. I prayed so intensely that my sweat became like drops of blood. But even in that moment, even facing the cross, I ended my prayer with these words, "Not my will, but yours be done." And then I got up and walked toward the cross in peace. I did not spend the night trying to figure out how to avoid it. I did not waste energy on anxiety about things I could not change. I brought my human distress to my Father. I surrendered my will to His, and then I rested in the certainty of His plan, even though it was going to be excruciatingly difficult. And because I did that, because I went to the cross in a posture of trust rather than terror, I was able to accomplish the very purpose for which I came. I was able to purchase your freedom. I was able to destroy death. I was able to make a way for you to come home. This is the power of rest, even in the hardest moments. It does not eliminate the difficulty, but it changes how you walk through it. It does not mean you feel no emotions, but it means those emotions do not control you. It does not mean you understand everything, but it means you trust the one who does. And that trust, that rest, that surrender, it positions you to see victory on the other side of the battle. Now let me speak to you about the supernatural power that flows when you learn to rest in my arms. You have been trying to solve your problems with human wisdom and human effort. You have been strategizing and planning and working so hard to make things happen. And there is a place for wisdom and diligence and faithful work. I am not opposed to those things. But what you have been missing is the dimension of my miraculous power that is only accessed through rest and faith. When you are striving and controlling and operating entirely in your own strength, you limit yourself to what is humanly possible. You can achieve whatever your natural abilities and resources allow. And that might be significant. You might be very talented and capable, but you will never exceed the boundaries of what is naturally achievable when you are operating purely in the natural realm. And child, I did not save you and call you and fill you with my Spirit so that you could live a merely natural life. I saved you for the supernatural. I called you to walk in power that defies natural explanation. I filled you with my Spirit so that you could do things that are impossible in human strength. But here is the key. Supernatural power flows through surrender, not through striving. Miracles happen through faith, not through human effort. The impossible becomes possible when you stop trying to make it happen yourself, and you rest in my ability to do what you cannot do. This goes against everything the world has taught you. The world says if you want something, you have to make it happen. You have to work harder. You have to be smarter. You have to outperform everyone else. But my kingdom operates on completely different principles. In my kingdom, the first are last and the last are first. In my kingdom, strength is perfected in weakness. In my kingdom, the way up is down. And in my kingdom, power flows through surrender. Think about what I told Paul when he kept asking me to remove his thorn in the flesh. I said, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." And Paul's response was remarkable. He said, "Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. For when I am weak, then I am strong." Do you understand what he was saying? He discovered that his weakness was not a liability. It was an invitation for my power to show up. When he stopped trying to be strong enough on his own and admitted his weakness, my strength filled the gap. And he accomplished more through that partnership with my power than he ever could have accomplished in his own strength. This is what I am trying to teach you about rest. When you rest in me, when you admit that you are not strong enough or wise enough or capable enough to handle everything on your own, you are not admitting defeat. You are positioning yourself for my power to demonstrate itself through you. You are creating space for the supernatural. You are opening the door for miracles. And suddenly things start happening that you know, beyond any doubt, you did not make happen. Doors open that were locked. Provision comes from sources you never anticipated. People's hearts change in ways that human persuasion could never accomplish. Circumstances shift in your favor without any natural explanation, and you stand in awe knowing that this was God, not you. This is the life I am calling you to, a life where my power is on display through your weakness, a life where miracles are normal because you have learned to rest in me instead of strive in yourself. A life where the impossible becomes possible on a regular basis because you are partnering with the God for whom nothing is impossible. But you will never step into this life as long as you are trying to be your own source of strength. You have to come to the end of yourself. You have to admit your limitations. You have to surrender control. You have to rest. Let me tell you what I see when I look at your future as you learn to walk in this rest. I see you speaking words over situations and watching those situations change because my authority is backing your words. I see you praying for people and watching them experience breakthrough because my power is responding to your faith. I see you walking into rooms and the atmosphere shifting because my presence is resting on you. I see you facing giants that would have terrified you before, and instead of running or cowering, you are calm and confident because you know that the battle belongs to me and I have never lost a battle. I see resources flowing to you that you did not work for because I am your provider, and I delight in surprising my children with my generosity. I see relationships being restored that seemed beyond hope because I am the God who resurrects dead things. I see your health improving as you release stress and walk in my peace. I see your mind becoming sharper and your creativity increasing because you are no longer depleted by constant anxiety. I see your joy returning, deeper and fuller than it has ever been, because it is rooted in me, rather than in circumstances. I see you becoming a person that others are drawn to, because they sense something different about you. They may not be able to name it, but they feel peace in your presence. They find rest when they talk to you. They experience hope when they hear your story. And many of them will ask what changed in your life. And you will be able to tell them about me, about how I invited you to rest when you were exhausted and overwhelmed, about how you finally said yes and stepped into my arms, about how everything shifted when you stopped trying to control your life and started trusting me with it. And your testimony will give them faith that they can experience the same transformation. This is bigger than you. This is about my kingdom advancing through your surrendered life. This is about people encountering me through your example of what it looks like to trust God completely. This is about a world that is drowning in anxiety, seeing a living demonstration that there is another way, and you get to be part of that. Not because you have it all figured out or because you never struggle, but because you have learned to run to me when you do struggle, instead of trying to handle it all on your own. Let me speak now about the practical rhythms that will help you maintain this rest that I am giving you. Because I know that receiving this word right now is one thing, but living it out consistently is another. You need practical practices that will keep you anchored in rest, even when life gets chaotic. Let me give you a framework that you can return to again and again. First, start each day with me before you start it with anything else. Before you check your phone. Before you think about your to-do list. Before you even get out of bed if possible. Just a few minutes of connection. Speak my name. Thank me for the new day. Ask me to guide your steps. Invite my spirit to lead you. Tell me you trust me with whatever this day holds. This simple practice sets the trajectory for your entire day. You are starting connected to me instead of starting disconnected and trying to find me later when you are already overwhelmed. Second, practice bringing me into moments throughout your day. Not just during designated prayer times, but constantly. When worry starts to rise, immediately talk to me about it. When you face a decision, ask me for wisdom right then. When you see something beautiful, thank me for it. When you encounter difficulty, invite me into it. When you feel joy, share it with me. This running conversation with me throughout your day keeps you tethered to the source of peace instead of drifting into anxiety. Third, create space for silence and solitude regularly. I know your life is busy. I know you have responsibilities and people depending on you. But you need time alone with me where you are not asking me for anything or telling me anything. You are just being with me, sitting in my presence, listening for my voice, allowing my love to minister to your soul. This is not wasted time. This is the most productive time you can spend, because it is where your soul gets nourished and your strength gets renewed. Fourth, be ruthless about protecting your peace. There are things in your life that are stealing your rest and they need to go. Maybe it is certain relationships that drain you and add nothing. Maybe it is commitments you said yes to out of obligation, but that do not align with my calling on your life. Maybe it is media consumption that fills your mind with anxiety and negativity. Maybe it is habits that seem harmless but are actually keeping you from intimacy with me. I am not asking you to be legalistic. I am asking you to be intentional. What is robbing you of the peace I died to give you? And are you willing to eliminate it even if it costs you something? Fifth, surround yourself with people who build your faith instead of feed your fear. You cannot control everyone in your life, but you can be intentional about who you give access to your heart and your time. Find friends who will pray with you when you are worried instead of just worry with you. Connect with people who speak truth when you are spiraling instead of joining you in the spiral. Be part of a community that points you to me when you are struggling instead of encouraging you to rely on yourself. You become like the people you spend the most time with. Make sure you are spending time with people who are helping you grow in faith and trust, not people who reinforce anxiety and control. Sixth, celebrate progress instead of demanding perfection. You are going to have days when you fall back into old patterns of anxiety and striving. That does not mean you failed. It means you are human and you are learning. Do not beat yourself up when you struggle. Just notice what happened. Bring it back to me, receive my grace, and keep moving forward. And celebrate the victories. When you catch yourself starting to worry and you choose trust instead, that is huge. Acknowledge it. Thank me for helping you. Let it build your confidence that change really is happening, even if it is slower than you would like. Finally, remember that rest is not a destination you arrive at once and for all. It is a posture you return to again and again throughout your life. There will be seasons when rest comes easily, and seasons when you have to fight for it. There will be days when you wake up at peace, and days when you wake up anxious. The goal is not to never struggle. The goal is to know where to go when you do struggle, and that place is my arms, every single time. No matter how many times you need to come, no matter how many times you fall back into worry and have to surrender it again, come to me, let me hold you, let me remind you of truth, let me give you peace that defies your circumstances. This is the relationship I want with you, not you perfectly performing rest, but you constantly returning to the source of rest when you realize you have lost it. Child, can you feel the shift that is happening in your soul right now? Can you sense the release of burdens you have been carrying? Can you notice the peace that is settling over you even as you are reading these words? This is not your imagination. This is my spirit at work in you. This is me loosening the grip of anxiety and replacing it with rest. This is the beginning of the transformation I have been promising. You are not going to leave this encounter the same as you came in. Something has shifted. The old way of exhausting yourself with worry and striving is losing its power over you. A new way is opening up. A way of trust and rest and partnership with me. And as you walk forward from this moment, you are going to notice the difference. Situations that would have sent you into a tailspin before will not have the same effect. Worries that would have kept you up at night before will be easier to release. Control you would have clung to before will be easier to surrender, because you have tasted what rest in me actually feels like. And now that you know it is possible, You are going to want it more than you want the false sense of control that striving provides. This is your new normal. Not perfection, not the absence of challenges, but a deep, abiding peace that sustains you through whatever comes. A trust that runs deeper than your circumstances. A rest that is rooted in my character rather than dependent on your comfort. This is what I have for you. This is what I am giving you right now. Receive it. Embrace it. Step into it fully. Your life is about to change in the most beautiful ways, not because you figured out how to make it happen, but because you finally stopped trying to make it happen, and you let me do what only I can do. Let me tell you one more thing before we close this time together. I want you to understand the scope of what is about to shift in your life. This decision to rest in me is not just going to affect you personally. It is going to create a ripple effect that touches every area of your life and everyone connected to you. When you are at rest, when you are walking in my peace, you become a completely different presence in the world. Not in your core identity, but in how you show up in every situation. Your family is going to notice the difference first. Instead of coming home tense and irritable from carrying the weight of the world, you are going to come home peaceful. Instead of snapping at your loved ones because you are operating from an empty tank, you are going to have patience and kindness to offer because your tank is constantly being refilled by me. Your children are going to see what it looks like to trust God instead of being consumed by worry, and they are going to carry that example with them for the rest of their lives. Your spouse is going to experience the gift of being in relationship with someone who is not controlled by anxiety, and your connection is going to deepen in ways you cannot imagine right now. Your work is going to improve dramatically, not because you are suddenly going to work longer hours or push yourself harder, but because you are going to work from a place of clarity and peace instead of from panic and overwhelm. You are going to make better decisions because your mind is clear. You are going to be more creative because creativity flows when there is space, and anxiety leaves no space for creative thinking. You are going to be more productive because you are not wasting energy on worry. You are going to be a better leader, a better team member, a better employee or employer, because people naturally respond to peace and are repelled by anxiety. Your physical body is going to improve in ways that will surprise you. Chronic tension that you thought was just part of who you are is going to release as you release anxiety. Sleep that has been elusive for so long is going to come more easily. Digestion that has been problematic is going to settle down. Headaches that have been frequent visitors are going to decrease significantly. Energy that has been depleted for months or years is going to return. I am not promising instant miraculous healing of every health issue you face, but I am telling you that your body is going to respond dramatically when you stop flooding it with stress hormones day after day. Your spiritual life is going to explode with new growth. Right now, anxiety is creating so much noise in your soul that it is hard to hear my voice clearly. It is difficult to sense my presence when you are constantly agitated. It is nearly impossible to discern my leading when you are consumed with worry. But when you quiet the anxiety through rest and trust, suddenly you can hear me. You can feel me near. You know which direction to go because my spirit can communicate with you without all that interference. Your faith is going to grow by leaps and bounds as you watch me show up again and again to prove myself faithful. Your intimacy with me is going to deepen profoundly as you learn what it really means to abide in me instead of just visiting me occasionally when you need something. So right now, I need you to make a decision. Are you going to keep exhausting yourself with worry over things you cannot control? Are you going to keep lying awake at night rehearsing problems and scenarios? Are you going to keep trying to be strong enough to hold everything together in your own power? Or are you going to accept my invitation to rest? This is not a small decision. This is a defining moment. Because the life you live from this point forward will be determined by how you answer this question. If you continue in anxiety and striving, you will continue to experience the exhaustion, the depletion, the overwhelm that has become your normal. But if you choose rest, if you really commit to trusting me with the things you have been trying to control, everything changes. Your health improves, your relationships deepen, your joy returns, your purpose becomes clear, and you start experiencing the abundant life I promised, instead of just surviving from one crisis to the next. I am holding out my hand to you right now. I am inviting you to step into my arms and let me carry what you have been trying to carry. I am offering you a trade. Your anxiety for my peace. Your weakness for my strength. Your confusion for my wisdom. Your exhaustion for my rest. This is not a one-time transaction. This is a way of life. Every single day, multiple times a day, you will have opportunities to choose worry or choose trust. And every time you choose trust, every time you release control and rest in me, you are building a habit that will transform your life. Let me tell you what is going to happen as you practice this. At first, it is going to feel unnatural because you are so accustomed to anxiety being your default state. You are going to catch yourself worrying and have to consciously redirect your thoughts back to trust. You are going to lie awake sometimes before you remember to speak my name and surrender your concerns. That is okay. This is a process. Give yourself grace as you learn a new way of being. But the more you practice choosing rest, the more natural it will become. Your mind will start automatically turning to me when worry tries to creep in. Your body will start relaxing in my presence instead of tensing up at every challenge. Your spirit will start recognizing my peace as its home base instead of treating it like a rare visitor. And over time, rest will become your default instead of anxiety. And then you will start seeing the fruit. The situations you were so worried about will resolve in ways you never could have orchestrated. The people you were lying awake concerned about will have breakthroughs you did not see coming. Provision will show up from unexpected sources. Doors will open that you did not even know to knock on. Healing will come, restoration will happen, and you will look back and realize that all the time you spent worrying was wasted because I was working the entire time and none of your anxiety contributed anything to the outcome. This is the testimony you are going to have. This is the story you are going to tell. You are going to describe the season when everything felt overwhelming and impossible. You are going to talk about the sleepless nights and the anxiety that felt like it would crush you. And then you're going to tell about the day you heard me invite you to rest. You're going to describe what happened when you finally released control and learned to trust me with everything. You are going to list the miracles that followed. And people who are going through what you are going through right now are going to be encouraged by your story. They are going to find hope because you walked this path and discovered that rest really is more powerful than striving. But you will not just have a testimony about what I did for you. You will have a testimony about who you became through the process. Because learning to rest in me transforms you at the deepest level. It changes you from someone who is anxious and controlling to someone who is peaceful and trusting. It shifts you from operating out of fear to operating out of faith. It turns you from a person who is easily shaken by circumstances to a person who remains steady because you are rooted in me. And this transformation does not just benefit you. It blesses everyone around you. Your children see what it looks like to trust God instead of worry, and they learn to do the same. Your spouse experiences the gift of a peaceful partner instead of an anxious one. Your friends find rest in your presence because you are not adding to their stress, but offering them a taste of my peace. Your co-workers notice something different about you, the way you handle pressure with grace instead of panic. And all of that becomes a witness to my goodness and faithfulness. This is my will for you. Not just that you experience rest personally, though I deeply desire that for you, but that you become a carrier of rest to others. That your life becomes a demonstration of what happens when someone really trusts me. That you become living proof that my promises are true and my power is real. This is the calling on your life. To rest so deeply in me that others are drawn to the peace they see in you and want to know the source. Now let me speak to something practical because I know you need to know how this works in daily life, not just in theory. You have responsibilities. You have a job to do, a family to care for, bills to pay, decisions to make. How do you rest in me while still handling all of that? Let me give you a framework. First thing in the morning, before you do anything else, connect with me. Not a long, complicated prayer if you do not have time for that. Just a simple acknowledgement. Thank you, Jesus. I trust you with this day. Help me walk in your peace and strength. That is enough to set the trajectory for your day. You are starting connected to me instead of starting disconnected and trying to find me later. Throughout the day, when challenges or worries arise, immediately bring them to me in a short conversational prayer. God, I just got this bill, and I do not know how I'm going to pay it. I am giving this to you right now. Show me what to do, and help me trust your provision. Then let it go. Do what you know to do practically, but release the outcome to me. Do not spend the rest of the day churning on it. When someone you love makes a choice that concerns you, pray for them right then instead of worrying. Father, I am worried about the path they are choosing. I release them into your care. Work in their life in whatever way is needed. Give me wisdom to know how to love them well. Protect them from destruction. Then trust me with them and refuse to rehearse all the terrible things that might happen. At the end of the day, when your day comes to a close, review your day with me. Thank me for how I showed up. Acknowledge where you struggled to trust. Release any remaining worries. Ask me to speak to you in the night through dreams if there is something I want you to know. And then rest, trusting that I do not sleep, so you can. This rhythm, practiced consistently, will keep you anchored in rest, even when life is chaotic. You are not trying to live in some constant state of meditation where you never think about anything practical. You are simply staying connected to me throughout the normal rhythms of your day, bringing me into everything instead of compartmentalizing me into a religious box. And when you do this, you will notice something remarkable. You will start sensing my presence in ordinary moments. You will hear my voice speaking wisdom into situations. You will feel my peace in the middle of circumstances that used to send you into a tailspin. This is what it means to abide in me. To remain connected. To draw your life from me the way a branch draws life from the vine. Now I want to address something that might be holding you back from fully embracing this invitation to rest. You might be thinking that you have failed so many times before at trusting me, that you have tried to give your worries to me and then immediately picked them back up, that you have made commitments to walk in faith and then fallen back into anxiety. And you are afraid that this time will be the same, that you will hear these words, feel encouraged for a moment, and then slip right back into your old patterns. Let me speak truth to that fear. Yes, you have struggled with this before. Yes, you will probably struggle with it again. Because you are human and you live in a fallen world, and there is an enemy actively working to steal your peace. But that does not mean you are doomed to repeat the past forever. Every day is a new opportunity to choose rest over worry. Every moment is a chance to turn back to me when you realize you have been trying to carry something in your own strength. The goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. The goal is that you get quicker at recognizing when you have picked up a burden that is not yours and returning it to me. The goal is that you have more moments of peace and fewer moments of panic. The goal is forward motion, not instant arrival at some destination where you never struggle with anxiety again. And even in the moments when you do fall back into worry, I am not disappointed in you. I am not frustrated with you. I am not keeping score. I see your heart. I know you want to trust me. I understand that fear is a real human emotion that does not just disappear because you decide it should. And I am patient with you as you learn. So be patient with yourself too. Every time you recognize anxiety rising and you turn to me instead of spiraling, that is a victory. Every night you sleep in peace instead of lying awake worrying, that is a victory. Every situation you release into my hands instead of trying to control, that is a victory. Celebrate those victories instead of beating yourself up over the times you struggle. Because each small victory is building the habit of trust that will eventually become your new normal. I also want you to know that I am not just asking you to rest because it is good for you, though it is. I am inviting you to rest because this is how my kingdom operates. This is how you partner with me in accomplishing my purposes. When you rest in me, you make room for my power to flow through you. When you try to do everything in your own strength, you limit what I can do through you to what you are capable of. But when you rest, You become a vessel for supernatural power that can accomplish immeasurably more than you could ask or imagine. Think about Moses standing at the Red Sea with the Egyptian army closing in behind him and water blocking the way forward. He did not have to figure out how to build boats for millions of people. He did not have to come up with a military strategy to defeat Pharaoh's chariots. He just had to lift his staff and stand still and watch me work. The victory came through rest and trust, not through human effort and strategy. Think about Joshua marching around Jericho. The battle plan made no natural sense. Walk in circles and blow trumpets and walls will fall. But Joshua did not try to improve on my instructions with his own military wisdom. He just obeyed and rested in the certainty that if I said it would work, it would work. And the walls fell. Think about David facing Goliath. Everyone else saw an impossible situation. A young boy with no armor against a giant warrior. But David saw it through the lens of faith. He rested in the absolute certainty that the God who helped him kill a lion and a bear would help him defeat this giant too. And he won not through military might, but through trust in me. This is the pattern throughout Scripture. My people face impossible situations. Natural wisdom says it cannot be done, but those who rest in me and trust my power see miracles. And I am inviting you into that same pattern. You are facing situations right now that feel impossible, finances that do not add up, relationships that seem beyond repair, health issues that have no medical solution, circumstances that appear to have no way forward. And I am telling you that your rest, your trust, your refusal to panic positions you for a miracle, not because rest is some kind of magic formula, but because rest demonstrates faith. And faith is the channel through which my power flows. When you rest in me in the middle of an impossible situation, you are declaring with your life that you believe I am who I say I am. You are announcing that you trust my character and my promises more than you trust the evidence of natural circumstances. And that kind of faith moves my heart to action. So, your anxiety is not neutral. It is not just an unfortunate emotion that makes you feel bad. It is actually a form of unbelief that blocks the flow of my power in your situation. Every moment you spend worrying is a moment you are declaring with your life that you do not really believe I am able to handle this. I know you do not mean it that way. I know you believe in me intellectually. But functionally, when you worry, you are operating as though the outcome depends on you instead of on me. And rest is not passive resignation. It is active faith. It is you saying with your life, my God is able. My God is faithful. My God loves me. My God sees what I am facing. And my God will make a way. So I am choosing to trust him instead of panic. That is rest. And that is the posture from which miracles flow. I need you to hear this next part carefully because it is crucial. The rest I am offering you is not dependent on your circumstances improving. You do not have to wait until the problem is solved to experience peace. The peace comes first, and then the solution follows. But even if the solution looks different than you expected, even if my plan unfolds in ways you did not anticipate, the peace remains, because it is not based on getting what you want. It is based on trusting who I am. This is where so many of my children get confused. They think rest means everything is going well. They think peace is the absence of problems. So they wait for their circumstances to change before they allow themselves to rest. But that is backwards. Rest is what you practice in the middle of the storm. Peace is what you choose when there is plenty to worry about. Trust is most powerful when there are 1,000 reasons to panic, but you refuse to do it because you know me. Remember when I was in the boat with my disciples and a storm came up? I was sleeping. Not because I was unaware of the danger, not because I did not care that they were afraid, but because I was completely at rest in my Father's plan. I knew the storm was not going to sink us because I knew why I was there and where I was going. And when they woke me in a panic, I spoke to the storm and it stopped. But I also asked them a question. Where is your faith? I was not criticizing them for being afraid. Fear is a natural human response to danger. I was teaching them that faith is meant to be stronger than fear. That knowledge of who God is should produce rest, even when circumstances are threatening. That they could have experienced peace in the storm if they had really believed that the Son of God was in the boat with them, and nothing could harm them without his permission. This is what I am teaching you now. I am in your boat. I am in your situation. I am in your life. And nothing is going to happen to you that I do not allow, or that I cannot turn for your good. So you can rest even while the waves are high and the wind is howling. Not because the storm is not real, but because I am in the boat with you, and I am not worried. So you do not need to be either. Let me also address the practical side of what rest looks like when you have responsibilities. I am not telling you to quit your job and just pray all day. I am not telling you to neglect your duties or ignore your obligations. I am telling you to do what you are called to do from a place of rest rather than a place of striving. There is a huge difference. Striving says, it all depends on me. If I do not work hard enough, it will fall apart. I have to make this happen. I have to control the outcome. And that mindset leads to exhaustion, burnout, and anxiety. Rest says, I will do my part faithfully and trust God with the outcome. I will work hard and honor my responsibilities, but I know the results are in His hands, not mine. I will sow seed, but God brings the harvest. Can you see the difference? One is exhausting. The other is sustainable. One leads to fear and control. The other leads to peace and trust. And the ironic thing is, you will actually be more effective when you work from rest than when you work from striving. Because rest keeps you connected to wisdom, creativity, and divine strategy. Striving keeps you stuck in survival mode, just trying to keep your head above water. So practically, what does this look like? It looks like giving your best effort at work and then releasing the outcomes to me. It looks like caring for your family with love and intentionality, but trusting me with how they turn out, instead of thinking it all depends on your perfect parenting. It looks like managing your finances wisely, but trusting my provision, instead of lying awake, panicking about money. It looks like taking care of your health responsibly, but trusting me as your healer, instead of being consumed with medical anxiety. Do your part. Trust me with the rest. That is the formula. And when you live that way, you will discover that life gets so much lighter. Not easier necessarily, but lighter. Because you are not carrying the weight of things that were never yours to carry. Now let me speak to the miraculous power that is about to be released in your life as you learn to rest. I told you at the beginning that I am the God of mighty miracles. I am the God of impossible situations made possible. And when you position yourself in rest and faith, you position yourself to see my power manifest in ways that will leave you in awe. Here is what is about to happen. Those doors that have been closed are going to open. Not because you figured out the right strategy, but because I am opening them. That provision you need is going to come. Not because you worried enough to make it happen, but because I am your provider, and I am releasing resources into your life. Those relationships that seemed broken beyond repair are going to experience healing. Not because you manipulated circumstances, but because I am doing a work in the hearts of everyone involved. That health issue is going to shift. That family situation is going to turn around. That financial pressure is going to ease. And when it does, you are going to know without any doubt that it was me, because the way it happens will not make natural sense. The timing will be too perfect to be coincidence. The provision will come from unexpected sources. The breakthrough will happen in ways you never could have orchestrated. And you will stand in awe of my goodness and faithfulness. But more than the external miracles, I am going to do an internal miracle. I am transforming you from the inside out. I am taking that anxious, worried, controlling person you have been, and I am transforming you into someone who is peaceful, trusting, and confident in me. I am replacing fear with faith. I am exchanging anxiety for peace. I am turning your weakness into strength, and your confusion into clarity. And this internal transformation is actually the greater miracle, because circumstances change all the time. Today's problem gets solved, and tomorrow's problem arises. But when you are transformed on the inside, when you learn to walk in rest and trust regardless of circumstances, you have something that cannot be taken from you. You have peace that survives any storm. You have joy that endures any trial. You have hope that cannot be extinguished by disappointment. This is my gift to you. Not just solutions to your current problems, though those are coming, but a new way of being in the world. A way of living that is marked by rest instead of striving, peace instead of panic, trust instead of control. This is the abundant life I promised. This is what it means to walk with me. And as you step into this reality, as you learn to rest in me more deeply, you are going to become a beacon of hope to others. People are going to notice the difference in you. They are going to wonder why you are not falling apart when facing difficult circumstances. They are going to ask how you can have peace when there is so much to worry about. And you are going to be able to tell them about me, about my faithfulness, about the rest that is available to anyone who will trust me. This is bigger than just your personal peace, though I care deeply about that. This is about you becoming a witness to my goodness in a world that is consumed with anxiety. This is about your life becoming a demonstration of what is possible when someone really trusts me. This is about you carrying my presence and my peace into every room you enter and every conversation you have. So yes, accept my invitation to rest for your own sake, because you need it and you deserve it, and I want you to experience the abundant life I died to give you. But also accept it for the sake of everyone around you, because the world needs people who know how to rest in God. The world needs living proof that faith works. The world needs to see that there is an alternative to the anxiety and exhaustion that have become the cultural norm. You are that alternative. Your life is that proof. Your peace is that witness. So step into it fully. Embrace this invitation with your whole heart. Release everything you have been trying to control. Surrender every worry that has been stealing your sleep. Let go of every burden that was never yours to carry. And rest. Really rest. Not someday when everything is figured out. Right now. In this moment. Even with all the unanswered questions and unsolved problems. Rest in my love for you. Rest in my power working on your behalf. Rest in my perfect timing that is never late. Rest in my faithfulness that never fails. Rest in my wisdom that sees what you cannot see. Rest in my goodness that is working all things together for your benefit, even when you cannot understand how. This is my invitation. This is my promise. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest, not eventually, not theoretically, right now, really, truly, rest for your soul, peace for your mind, strength for your body, hope for your future. This is yours. Receive it. Walk in it. Live from it. And watch what I do next, because the story of your life is about to shift. The chapter of striving and anxiety is ending. The chapter of rest and miracles is beginning. You are going to look back on this moment as the turning point. The day you finally said yes to my invitation. The day everything changed because you stopped trying to do it all in your own strength and collapsed into my arms, trusting me completely. Let me tell you about the kind of rest I am offering you, because it goes deeper than just relieving stress or getting better sleep, though those things will come. The rest I am talking about is a rest for your soul. It is the kind of rest that reaches into the deepest parts of who you are and settles something that has been unsettled for far too long. It is the rest that comes when you finally stop trying to prove yourself, stop trying to earn love, stop trying to be enough on your own. It is the rest of knowing that you are fully known and fully loved just as you are. You have been carrying an invisible weight that has become so familiar you barely notice it anymore. It is the weight of feeling like you have to perform, like you have to achieve, like you have to constantly strive to be worthy of the air you breathe and the space you occupy. Somewhere along the way, you picked up the message that rest has to be earned, that you only get to relax after you have done enough, accomplished enough, fixed enough. And that message has been slowly crushing you because there is always something more to do, always something else that needs fixing, always another goal you have not quite reached yet. But I am telling you right now that rest is not something you earn. It is something you receive. It is a gift I am holding out to you with open hands. And the only thing required to receive it is for you to stop striving long enough to take it. You do not have to do anything to deserve this. You do not have to clean up your act first, or get your life together, or prove that you are worthy. You just have to come. Come as you are. Come with all your mess, and all your failure, and all your exhaustion. Come and collapse into my arms, and let me hold you while you finally rest. Do you remember what I said when I walked this earth? Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. I did not say, come to me after you have rested, and you are strong again. I said, come to me when you are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Right in the middle of your exhaustion. Right in the middle of your overwhelming circumstances. That is when the invitation is extended. And notice what I said about my yoke. It is easy. My burden is light. What does that mean? It means that walking with me, partnering with me, allowing me to guide your steps and carry your weight, that is actually easier than what you have been trying to do on your own. You think that surrendering control will make life harder? You think that trusting me means you are being irresponsible or passive. But the truth is the exact opposite. Trying to control everything yourself is the heavy yoke, carrying the weight of outcomes that were never yours to carry. That is the crushing burden. And I am offering to trade you. Give me that impossible weight you have been carrying. Give me the responsibility you were never meant to bear. Give me the control you have been clinging to out of fear. And in exchange, take my yoke. Let me guide you. Let me show you how to walk through life connected to my power instead of limited by your own. Let me teach you what it means to work from rest instead of striving for rest that never comes. This is the exchange I am offering. And I promise you, my yoke is easy. My burden is light. Not because following me requires nothing from you, but because you will be yoked together with me, and I am the one pulling the weight. Think about what a yoke actually is. It is a wooden beam that connects two animals, usually oxen, so they can pull a plow or a cart together. When a young, inexperienced ox is being trained, it is yoked together with an older, stronger ox who knows what to do. And here is the key. The older ox bears most of the weight. The younger ox learns by being connected to the one who is strong and experienced. The younger ox does not have to figure everything out alone or carry the full burden. It just has to stay connected and follow the lead of the one who knows the way. This is the picture I am painting for you. You are yoked together with me. I am the strong one. I am the experienced one. I am the one who knows the way through every situation you are facing. You do not have to carry the full weight. You do not have to figure everything out. You just have to stay connected to me and follow my lead. And as you do, you will discover that the burden becomes lighter, not because your circumstances instantly change, though they will over time, but because you are no longer carrying them alone. I am bearing the weight, and I am strong enough to carry it all without breaking a sweat. But here is where most of my children go wrong. They say yes to being yoked with me, and then they try to run ahead and pull in a different direction. They try to take control of the speed and the direction and the method. And suddenly what should have been easy becomes difficult again. Not because my yoke became heavy, but because they are fighting against it instead of moving with it. They are trying to lead instead of following. They are trying to pull the weight instead of letting me pull it. This is what you have been doing. You said yes to following me, but you have been trying to steer. You have been trying to control the pace and the path and the outcome. And it has been exhausting because you are working against me instead of with me. You are pulling in the direction you think we should go instead of trusting me to lead you where you actually need to be. And I am saying to you now, stop. Stop trying to lead. Stop trying to control. Just stay close to me and move when I move. Rest when I rest. Trust that I know what I am doing even when the path does not make sense to you. This is the secret to the easy yoke and the light burden. It is not that there is no work involved. It is that the work becomes sustainable and even joyful when you are doing it in partnership with me, instead of trying to do it all yourself. It is the difference between striving and abiding. Striving is exhausting. Abiding is restful. Striving says, I have to make this happen. Abiding says, I will do my part and trust God with the rest. Striving leads to burnout. Abiding leads to fruitfulness. And I am inviting you right now to shift from striving to abiding, from exhausting yourself to resting in me. Let me give you a practical picture of what this looks like. Imagine you have a big project due at work. The old way, the striving way, would be to immediately feel the pressure and start frantically trying to figure out how you are going to get it all done. You would lie awake at night running through scenarios. You would work long hours fueled by anxiety. You would skip meals and neglect rest because there is just too much to do. And you would probably get the project done, but you would be absolutely depleted by the time you finish. Now imagine doing the same project from a place of rest. You receive the assignment and immediately bring it to me. Father, I have this project and I need your wisdom and help. Show me how to approach this. Give me clarity and creativity. Order my steps and help me use my time wisely. And then you trust that I heard you and I am going to help you. You do the work diligently and faithfully, but you are not driven by panic. You take breaks when you need them. You sleep at night, trusting that I am ordering your thoughts even while you rest. You stay connected to me throughout the process, checking in for wisdom and direction. And you complete the project on time, possibly even doing better work than you would have done from a place of anxiety. And you still have energy left over for the rest of your life. Can you see the difference? Both scenarios involve work, but one is driven by fear and striving and depletes you completely. The other is rooted in trust and rest and sustains you even in the middle of intensity. This is what I am teaching you: how to work, how to care, how to engage with life from a place of rest instead of a place of anxiety. And the only way to learn this is to practice it, to catch yourself when you start to strive and intentionally shift back into rest. To notice when you are trying to control and deliberately release it back to me, over and over and over until it becomes your new normal. And yes, it will take practice. Yes, there will be days when you fall back into old patterns. Yes, you will sometimes forget and find yourself lying awake at 3 in the morning worrying about everything. But do not let that discourage you. Do not use it as evidence that you are a failure or that this does not work. Just notice what happened. Bring it back to me, release the worry again, and keep practicing. You are learning a new way of being, and that takes time. Give yourself grace in the process. I certainly am giving you grace. I am not frustrated with you when you struggle. I am patiently teaching you and cheering you on every time you choose trust over worry. Now let me address something about the people in your life, because I know this is one of your biggest sources of anxiety. You look at your children, your spouse, your parents, your friends, whoever it is that you love deeply, and you see them making choices that concern you. You see them heading down paths that worry you. You see them struggling with things you cannot fix for them. And your heart breaks because you love them so much and you desperately want them to be okay. You want them to be safe. You want them to make wise choices. You want them to avoid pain and regret. And so you lie awake at night worrying about them. You try to control or manage or steer them. You lecture and plead and attempt to convince them to do things differently. And it is tearing you apart because they are not listening, and you feel powerless to protect them from themselves. I see all of this. I see your heart of love for them. I see how much you care. And I am telling you that your worry is not helping them. Your attempts to control are not protecting them. Your anxiety is only destroying your own peace without changing their situation one bit. Because here is what you need to understand. You were never meant to be their savior. That is my job. And I love them infinitely more than you do. I love them with a love that is perfect and complete and knows exactly what they need in order to be transformed. You love them with human love, which is beautiful but limited. You want to protect them from all pain, but I know that sometimes pain is the very thing that will wake them up and turn them back to me. You want to rescue them from consequences, but I know that consequences are sometimes the most effective teachers. You want them to change right now, but I know the perfect timing that will produce lasting transformation instead of superficial compliance. Your perspective is limited to what you can see and understand. My perspective encompasses all of time and eternity. I see the end from the beginning. I know exactly what I am doing in their lives, even when it makes no sense to you. So when I tell you to release them to me, I am not asking you to stop caring about them. I am asking you to trust me to care for them in ways that you cannot. I am asking you to shift from being their self-appointed savior to being their intercessor. Instead of lying awake, consumed with worry, pray for them and then rest in confidence that I am at work. Instead of trying to control and manipulate their choices, love them unconditionally and trust me to speak to their hearts. Instead of exhausting yourself trying to fix them, focus on your own walk with me and let your transformed life be a witness to them of my goodness. And here's what will happen when you do this. First, you will experience freedom. The burden you have been carrying that was destroying your peace will lift. You will be able to sleep at night knowing that they are in my hands, which are far more capable than yours. Second, your relationship with them will improve. Right now, there is probably tension because they feel your attempts to control them, and they are resisting. When you stop trying to control and simply love them, that tension dissolves. They may even become more open to hearing what you have to say, because you are no longer pushing it on them. Third, I will be able to work more effectively in their lives, because you are no longer interfering with my process. Your well-meaning attempts to rescue them have sometimes prevented them from facing what they need to face in order to change. When you step back and let me work, transformation can actually happen. Let me tell you a story about a father and his son. The son was wild and rebellious, making terrible choices that were breaking his father's heart. The father begged him to change. He tried to control his behavior. He even cut off his financial support, hoping that would force the son to come to his senses. But nothing worked. The son took his inheritance and left home, determined to live life on his own terms. And the father could have spent every day consumed with worry and regret, wondering if his son was okay, replaying all his parenting mistakes, trying to figure out how to fix this. But instead, this father did something remarkable. He released his son into my hands and trusted me with him. Yes, he grieved. Yes, he prayed fervently. But he did not let anxiety consume him. He went on with his life, trusting that I was at work even when he could not see it. And one day, after the son had wasted everything and hit absolute bottom, he came to his senses. He remembered his father's love. He remembered his father's home. And he made the decision to return, not because his father manipulated or controlled him into it, but because the consequences he faced brought him to the end of himself, and he realized he needed to go home. And here's the beautiful part. The father saw him coming from a long way off. He had been watching and waiting with hope, not with anxiety. And when he saw his son, he ran to him. He threw his arms around him. He threw a party to celebrate his return. He did not say, "I told you so." He did not lecture him about his mistakes. He simply welcomed him home with love and joy because his son who was lost had been found. This is the story I told when I walked the earth, and I told it to illustrate my Father's heart toward his wandering children. But it also illustrates what I am trying to teach you about the people you love who are making choices that concern you. Release them. Trust me with them. Pray for them. Keep the door of your heart open for their return. But do not let worry about them destroy your peace. Do not let anxiety about their choices prevent you from experiencing the abundant life I have for you. They are in my hands, and my hands are big enough to hold them safely while they learn the lessons they need to learn. There is another aspect of rest that I need to talk to you about, and it has to do with your own sense of worth and identity. A huge part of the reason you cannot rest is because you have believed the lie that your value is tied to your performance, that you are only as good as your last achievement, that you have to keep striving and producing and accomplishing in order to matter. And that lie is a slave driver that will never let you rest because there is always more to do, always another mountain to climb, always another way you could be better or do more. But child, listen to me carefully. Your worth is not determined by what you do. It is determined by whose you are. You are mine. You are my beloved child. And that identity, that relationship, that is established and settled and secure regardless of your performance. You could never do another productive thing for the rest of your life, and you would still be infinitely precious to me. You could fail at every single thing you attempt, and I would love you exactly the same. You could make mistake after mistake, and I would still call you mine and hold you close. This is not to say that what you do does not matter. Your choices have consequences. Your actions affect your life and the lives of others. I care about how you live, and I want you to walk in wisdom and obedience. But none of that changes your fundamental worth in my eyes. You are valuable because I created you, and I chose you, and I love you. Period. Not because you earned it or deserve it or achieved enough to qualify, simply because I decided you are mine. When you really grasp this truth deep in your soul, it changes everything. You stop trying so hard to prove yourself. You stop living in fear of failure. You stop exhausting yourself trying to earn love that has already been freely given. You start operating from a place of security instead of insecurity. You start making choices based on my leading instead of based on trying to impress people or prove your worth. You start taking healthy risks because you know that even if you fail, it does not change who you are or how I feel about you. This is the rest that comes from knowing you are unconditionally loved. It is the rest of not having to perform for approval. It is the rest of being fully known and fully accepted. It is the rest of understanding that your identity is secure in me and nothing can change that. Not your mistakes, not your failures, not other people's opinions, not your own negative self-talk, nothing. You are mine, and that settles the question of your worth once and for all. So when you find yourself striving and anxious, I want you to pause and ask yourself a question. What am I trying to prove right now? Am I trying to prove that I am good enough, smart enough, capable enough, valuable enough? And if the answer is yes, then I want you to remember the truth. You are already enough because you are mine. You do not have to prove anything to me or to anyone else. You just have to be who I created you to be and trust me with the outcomes. This one shift in your thinking, from trying to prove your worth to resting in your identity as my beloved child, will transform your entire life. Let me talk to you now about what I am about to do in your life as you step into this place of rest. I am going to show you things you have never seen before. I am going to open doors you did not even know existed. I am going to bring people into your life who will speak truth and encouragement at exactly the right moment. I am going to provide for you in ways that will leave you in awe of my creativity and faithfulness. I am going to heal relationships you thought were beyond repair. I am going to restore dreams you thought were dead. I am going to vindicate you in situations where you have been misunderstood or falsely accused. And I am going to do all of this not because you earned it by finally learning to rest, but simply because I love you, and I have always had good plans for you. The difference is that now you will be positioned to receive what I have been trying to give you all along. Before, your anxiety and striving were blocking the flow of my blessing. Your attempts to control were interfering with my plans. Your worry was like a closed fist that could not receive what I was trying to place in your open hand. But now, as you learn to rest in me and trust me completely, your hands are opening. Your heart is opening. You are positioning yourself to receive all that I have for you, and I am about to blow your mind with my goodness. I am going to show you that I am faithful, that my promises are true, that my power is real, that my love is steadfast. You have known these things in your head, but I am going to make them real to your heart through tangible, undeniable demonstrations of my presence and provision in your life. You are going to have moments where you are overcome with the reality of how much I cherish you. You are going to experience breakthrough in areas where you had given up hope. You are going to watch me do things that you know beyond a shadow of a doubt only I could have done. And with each of these experiences, your faith is going to grow. Your trust is going to deepen. Your ability to rest is going to increase. Because you will have a growing history with me of watching me show up and come through and prove faithful. Right now, your faith might feel weak. Your trust might feel fragile. Your rest might feel like something you have to force yourself into. But as you walk this journey with me and watch me show up again and again, Rest is going to become more natural. Trust is going to become your default. Faith is going to become as easy as breathing. This is the testimony you are going to have. You are going to be able to look back on this season of your life and see clearly how I moved and worked and demonstrated my love for you. You are going to tell the story of how you were anxious and exhausted and overwhelmed, and then you encountered my invitation to rest, and everything changed. Not because your circumstances instantly became perfect, but because you learned to face your circumstances from a completely different posture. You learned to walk with me instead of run ahead of me. You learned to trust instead of control. You learned to rest instead of strive. And that shift changed everything. People are going to ask you what happened. They are going to notice the peace in your eyes, even when you are describing difficult situations. They are going to comment on how different you seem, how much lighter, how much more joyful. And you are going to be able to point them to me. You are going to be able to say, I learned to rest in God's love and trust His faithfulness, and it transformed my entire life. And your testimony is going to give them hope that they can experience the same transformation. This is bigger than just your personal peace and healing, though I care deeply about those things. This is about you becoming a carrier of my presence and my rest into a world that is consumed with anxiety and exhaustion. This is about your life becoming a living demonstration of what happens when someone really trusts me. This is about you being a beacon of hope in the darkness, showing people that there is another way to live. This is part of your calling, part of your purpose. You are not just learning to rest for your own sake. You are learning to rest so that you can show others the way. And let me tell you what is about to happen in the spiritual realm as you step into this place of rest. The enemy has been using your anxiety and exhaustion as a weapon against you. He has been whispering lies that you are not enough, that you have to control everything, that something terrible will happen if you stop striving. He has been trying to wear you out and wear you down so that you have no energy or passion left for the things that really matter. He has been attempting to neutralize your effectiveness by keeping you perpetually overwhelmed and depleted. But when you step into rest, when you anchor yourself in my love and my faithfulness, the enemy loses his grip on you. His lies lose their power. His attacks lose their effectiveness. Because you are no longer operating in your own strength, which is limited and can be depleted. You are operating in my strength, which is unlimited and never runs out. You are no longer basing your security on your circumstances, which are changeable. You are basing your security on my character, which never changes. And that shift makes you unshakable. The enemy knows this. He knows that rested, peaceful, faith-filled children of God are dangerous to his plans. He knows that when you are walking in the authority that comes from knowing who you are in me and trusting my power completely, you can do serious damage to his kingdom. So he has been fighting hard to keep you out of rest. He has been feeding you lies about how you cannot afford to rest, how you have to stay vigilant and in control. And you have been believing those lies because they sound so reasonable, so responsible. But I am opening your eyes to the truth. Rest is not weakness. Rest is warfare. Rest is you saying to the enemy, I do not receive your lies. I do not partner with your fear. I trust my God completely, and I refuse to let you steal my peace. And when you make that declaration with your life, when you live it out day after day by choosing trust over worry, the enemy backs off. Not because he stops attacking, but because his attacks are no longer effective. You have positioned yourself in a fortress that he cannot penetrate. That fortress is my love, my faithfulness, my presence. And as long as you stay there, as long as you keep choosing rest and trust, you are untouchable. So understand what you are stepping into. This is not just about feeling better or being less stressed. This is about stepping into your God-given authority and becoming effective in ways you have never been before. This is about the kingdom of darkness losing ground and the kingdom of light advancing through your life. This is about you becoming a weapon in my hands, not through striving and effort, but through rest and trust. Because when you rest in me, my power flows through you unhindered. And that power is devastating to the enemy's plans. Now let me paint a picture of your future, because I want you to see where we are going together. I see you 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now. I see you walking in a level of peace and confidence that seems impossible to you right now. I see you facing challenges that would have sent you into a panic spiral before, and instead, you are calmly bringing them to me and trusting me with the outcomes. I see you sleeping soundly through the night because you have learned to release your worries into my hands before your head hits the pillow. I see you making wise decisions from a place of peace rather than reactive decisions from a place of fear. I see relationships in your life being restored and healed because you have stopped trying to control people and started simply loving them while trusting me to work in their hearts. I see provision flowing into your life in unexpected ways because you have stopped operating from a scarcity mindset and started trusting my abundance. I see your health improving because your body is no longer constantly flooded with stress hormones. I see your creativity and productivity actually increasing because you are working from rest rather than striving from exhaustion. I see you becoming a source of peace and stability for the people around you. I see your children learning from your example what it looks like to trust God instead of worry. I see your friends being drawn to you because there is something different about you, something peaceful and grounded that they cannot quite name but they know they need. I see you being used by me to speak life and hope into people who are where you used to be, trapped in anxiety and striving, and your testimony giving them faith that there is a better way. This is the future that is available to you. This is what awaits you on the other side of this decision to rest in me. And I am not painting an unrealistic picture where everything is perfect and you never face challenges again. You will still have difficulties. Life will still bring storms, but you will face them from a completely different posture. You will walk through hard seasons from a place of peace instead of panic. You will endure trials with hope instead of despair. You will emerge from battles stronger rather than depleted because you were not fighting in your own strength. You were resting in mine. This is my promise to you. This is what I am offering. And the only thing required for you to step into this future is for you to make a decision right now. Will you accept my invitation to rest? Will you release the illusion of control and trust me completely? Will you stop striving and start abiding? Will you exchange your anxiety for my peace, your weakness for my strength, your confusion for my wisdom? The choice is yours. I will not force this on you. I will not manipulate or coerce you. I am simply standing here with my arms open wide, inviting you to come. Come and rest. Come and be loved. Come and experience the abundant life I died to give you. The door is open. The invitation has been extended. All you have to do is say yes and take the first step toward me. And I promise you, the moment you do, you will feel my arms wrap around you. You will sense my peace settling over you. You will know deep in your soul that you have made the right choice, and your life will never be the same. This is your time. This is your breakthrough. Not because you figured it out or worked hard enough or finally got everything under control, but because you stopped trying to control it and let me be God in your situation. Because you chose rest over striving, faith over fear, trust over anxiety. Welcome to the life you were always meant to live. Welcome to the peace that surpasses understanding. Welcome to the joy that cannot be stolen. Welcome to the strength that never runs out. Welcome to rest in my arms where you are safe, you are loved, you are held, and you are going to be absolutely fine. Amen. If this message touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear these words right here in this moment. Type Amen in the comments to receive this blessing. Let this be the day your life changes. Let this be the moment you finally surrender the burden you have been carrying and step into the rest I have been offering all along. Your breakthrough is not coming someday. It is here, right now, as you choose to trust me completely, as you release control and embrace the peace I am giving you. Everything changes from this moment forward. Walk in that truth. Live in that freedom. Rest in that promise. I am with